Welcome to the Stack and Strength channel. This is the Proof of Work series where I get to interview and host elite and exceptional mindsets in the fitness and Bitcoin space. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, John, and today I have a perfect guest for a high signal conversation. I would like to welcome Triv Naidoo to the show. Triv is intelligent, disciplined, someone with a very strong work ethic, someone who understands what long-term mindset means. Someone who understands delayed gratification. He is a bodybuilder who's a few weeks out of his comp, a coach, a father, and a husband, and he is also investment aware of Bitcoin. The goal of this episode is not Bitcoin 101, but level up thinking, especially around self-custody as personal sovereignty, not just tech for tech's sake. Discussion around proof of work and from Triv himself. So Triv, thank you very much for taking time to join me here. I understand it's school holidays. Much appreciated. Before I lead the show, if you could give a brief intro to the listeners who may not know you.
Well, first of all, thank you for the invitation. Much appreciated and humbled by this gesture. My name is Triv Naidoo. I'm a recreational bodybuilder and father and husband, as you have already announced. I work as a full-time engineer, but I have had a substantial experience and time in the health and fitness industry prior to my current career, if I should say. I actually studied engineering initially. So out of high school, I studied engineering for 5 years, and I worked for a few years in engineering, but whilst at the same time got very obsessive, if you like, and interested at the same time in health and fitness. Back when it was in its infancy, this is comfortably 2+ decades ago, when there was no information online, very little information online. So I did a lot of research on my own. I attended a lot of courses on my holidays from engineering. I was the only non-personal trainer in these courses. So a lot of functional medicine, strength and conditioning type courses to expand my knowledge. Because at the time when I joined the gym, I found that the basic stuff wasn't quite working for me. So I thought there was, more to it. So during that period, I obviously increased my knowledge a great deal, and I met a lot of people in the health and fitness industry, and it was very much in its growth phase. It was just about to take off. So I'd been advised to consider running my own business as a personal trainer and taking a hiatus from my engineering career at the time, which I did. And that was very successful. So I'm going to say I ran a business for about 13+ years in the health fitness industry as a personal trainer. I had a team of trainers. I mentored many trainers. So obviously learned how to coach individuals running their own businesses, and the mindset's a very big part of that, obviously. And obviously, more so in conjunction with personal training clients is far more about mental coaching than physical coaching. A lot of people think personal training is handing people dumbbells and counting repetitions, but it goes far more beyond that, I should say, from a psychological standpoint. We're coaching individuals to improve their lives. So again, I gained a lot from that as well, obviously. And it really shaped my future to where I am today, I guess. And it certainly has aided my career from a communication standpoint with the kind of role I do now. So yeah, I've done a lot of different things in the health and fitness space. It wasn't just training. I built from scratch with my wife a cafe. We owned a cafe in the health and fitness, what was dedicated to health and fitness, if you like. When I say health and fitness, more health, I should say, from a healthy union standpoint, back in 2014, I believe. And I want to say that it wasn't quite as popular as it is now to go out to eat, a healthy meal. Whereas I believe if we opened it now, it would be far more successful because of the awareness of health, and nutrition. So we're a bit behind there, but I decided to shut it down because I had my second daughter. She was born. And at that point, I did not want to I wanted to invest more time in my family than my, aspirations or entrepreneurial goals at the time. I weighed up what was more important to me. And so I pushed the limits from a stress and standpoint, trying to operate two businesses. And I made a very easy decision as to what was more important to me at the time. It was my own health, as my family, and at the same time being intelligent with the finances, obviously, to sustain that growth moving forward. And I left that business aside. But I moved back into the engineering space purely for a change, purely for a challenge, because personal training was quite good and quite successful and pretty easy at the time. I'm very much I've always believed that everyone should operate with a growth mindset in some way, shape, or form. And at the time, I was either going to leave the environment I was running my personal training business within and go to a different gym altogether where I had opportunity to grow the business further, or change careers completely and challenge myself there, which I decided to do. And that was a good 5 years ago now, and it's worked out pretty well.
Thanks, man. I realized that the introduction that I gave was not enough. I missed the engineer part there. I did have that at the back of my head, but I just missed that part. Yes, so obviously a man with so much experience. And Triv, you said, I caught on a part where you said you guys were behind in that thing. I actually think that you and your wife were ahead in that aspect of opening the cafe back in 2014. Yes, the trends were different back then, and the trends are different back now. Now it's more about social media and pushing the healthy eating aspect. So obviously, yeah, it would have caught on much harder. But I think you guys were ahead of your time. Obviously, the timing was not maybe on your side.
That's a more accurate way to put it, for sure. I mean, you'll probably agree. We live in a world where everything's promoted online and marketing makes or breaks your business, right? And I do believe it got to the point with our business that we needed to invest a substantial amount of money in the online space from a website, web development, SEO standpoint to further grow the cafe awareness, right? Because it wasn't, the model we had was sound. If the awareness was greater, I believe we could have franchised it. I really do. But even to your point about being ahead, a lot of what's in vogue now, I was practicing with my clients when I commenced my PT business in terms of gut health and everything related to detoxification and, sleep importance and all that sort of thing. I was practicing that when I started my business at 25 years old, and I'm 42 next month or in March, to give you some context. So 17 years ago, when I would approach someone in the gym to help them, it wasn't just, like I said, come have a session with me and I'll smash you. It was, how about I assess you and assess your current health status, see what your hormones are doing, see what your digestion's doing, your sleep, and see what your foundation is like, which is your health. And then we'll be able to optimize your performance and your nutrition and training in conjunction with that. And then that was what myself and my team and a lot of my colleagues practiced back in good 17 years ago. And I notice now, obviously, it's hyper popular, as you know. It's all about detox and gut health now. It's quite funny how, long it took to become mainstream.
Now we have too many gurus in the space. But ladies and gentlemen, you will understand that he's been there doing that for 17 years. So the level of expertise it's not what you see in your everyday. You might see someone who's been, who probably be in the fitness journey as such, but the level of dedication to be a stage level bodybuilder or coaching elite athletes and other trainers that requires much more knowledge. He's personally involved there, so he knows what he's talking about. So how long did you say you've been a coach? Was it 17 years?
Yes, 25 years old. Yes, 17. Well, stopped officially coaching full-time about 2021. And I just sort of coached online on a part-time basis ever since then. So, arguably I have not completely halted my coaching services. I just do it on a part-time basis because I obviously work full-time now, and with 2 young daughters, I'm not able to take on as many clients as I would like to because I still enjoy it. I still enjoy coaching people and changing lives, but it's just going back to the time investment point. I don't want to limit my time with my family on the weekends doing check-ins for clients when I could be spending time with my daughters. And, they're at an age where they really appreciate my time. So,
100%.
Long answer short, 17 odd years, yeah.
The right priorities there. See, as a coach, you don't train for your clients, right? You teach them ownership and accountability. You can program, cue, and educate and motivate, but if your client doesn't show up and lift, nothing's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see that same pattern with clients who want results without ownership in your journey so far?
Oh, absolutely. On countless occasions, it's been my job to basically educate them on what is required for them to change. And 9 times out of 10 is their mindset and their knowledge as to what was required of them. So, you know what? I'd like to say it's not always their fault because a lot of people are sold on a lot of the advertising and marketing with what's on offer online over the last decade and a half now, with 12-week transformations and 8-week challenges and all that sort of stuff. So everyone's of the assumption that they could change 30 to 40 years of damage in 8 weeks. You know what I mean? So then I'm having to educate them on, listen, you've basically, damaged your hormones and your digestion and gained a ton of body fat and visceral fat and created a new set point for your body over the last, say, 3 decades. And now you'd think that your body's going to just revert to a healthy, lean, muscular physique within 8 to 12 weeks. And that's just not how it works. And in most cases, not many people are very happy to hear that.
Spot on. Spot on, man. I think that's another reason which I could connect with that is the reason why many New Year resolutions fail as such. People, they want to take that step and they think, oh, this is a good way to reset and get back on track. But for some reason, 30, 35, 40 years of our lives, whatever we've done, we think that they can actually get all that changed in 1 week, 2 weeks, a month or 2 months. No, obviously not, right? That's not going to happen. And that's why people fall off that wagon, because they don't see the results that quick enough, what they would have probably thought that I should be getting it. And then probably, and
it's the instant gratification they lack, right?
Instant gratification. Yes, it's deeply rooted. It's very deeply rooted now in every aspect of our lives. We need instant gratification.
Absolutely. Yep, that's the world we live in.
Yeah, that's the world.
Everything's too easily accessible to us. Fast food, downloading movies. You can just go on your TV now. You don't have to go to a video store to select a movie anymore. None of that anticipation factor is there anymore, which is actually what we experienced as kids, would you agree?
Good old days.
When we were young, we didn't have, several takeout joints around the corner to us to go eat fast food. We would on the weekend, we get to do this because my parents said that's what we're doing this weekend. We're going to get to hire a movie, 1 movie, maybe 2, and eat a pizza, buy a takeaway pizza. You know what I mean? That was something we look forward to on a Saturday night.
But there was so much joy in that. There was so much joy in that.
So much more.
Yeah. The cassettes, the audio tapes, the VCRs, they just beautiful. No cell phones to call. We just shout at people, at boys, and get them out.
You couldn't download anything. You had to wait for CDs to come out.
That's right. I mean, even when, and you will remember this, when email came in, when internet came in, the initial dial-up modems, it will take so long. It will be so noisy.
That noise, I distinctly remember that dial-up noise. It's so nostalgic. I love it.
Yeah. Anything would be buffering for forever. And today we get impatient if a movie is not downloaded in 5 minutes or 2 minutes, or, it's not.
My daughters will have a bit of a hissy fit if something takes more than 20 seconds or 10 seconds. What's wrong with you? You can't behave like this. And I try to tell her, it's not their fault. They grew up in a world where everything is instant, right? So we were just fortunate to have experienced both.
That's absolutely right. We were privileged. We had the opportunity to grow up in both the worlds with the technological shift, and that's a good way to segment as well. When we had that shift initially, right, when cell phones came in play, internet came in play, there were many people who said that internet is going to be a fad. Nobody's going to use internet. Nobody's going to use emails. Everybody trusts the postal services will still send letters, right? And look what happened about that. I don't know personally anyone who sends letters anymore. And without internet, all of us are kind of doomed, right? Even right now, you and I are talking. We need internet. So without internet, internet's not a fad. And that's what's happening, in my opinion, in the financial framework. So we're going through a paradigm shift where technologically, and it's very difficult for the masses to understand this yet. But right now, it's the largest wealth transfer in history that's happening, obviously from the weak hands to the wealthy hands to the people who run the world, right? Precisely. And that is where Bitcoin comes in. One of the reasons why I started this channel, Triv, was because these are the two things I really enjoy, and what is fitness, that is enjoying my kind of training, and stacking that. The fraction of a Bitcoin is Satoshi, a short form for sats, and stacking sats. And I've been doing that for the past 6 odd years, and I've been training much more than that. So, and there was a lot of misinformation or lack of information on both fronts, but how much wrong information or toxic information is there in fitness. But on the Bitcoin space, I was just so shocked to see so much lack of knowledge. And that's why I said I need to give this out, just so people can actually secure that wealth. If they think they have access to it, they probably don't, and or what they know is not actually true. That's not correct information. That's not complete information. So that's why it's called Stack and Strength, the channel name. I had.
I believe what you're doing is very admirable.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Because in reality, most people want to keep this information to themselves, but you feel obligated to spread the knowledge.
Yeah, I actually do. And especially after the birth of my daughter, everything got rewired in a very different way and for a positive. Because I've been in the space for so long, I have so much information in there. When I talk to someone who's not there, and they obviously are there where I was 6 years ago, but I used to research a lot on it, right? I will go into the details. I read books, I listen to podcasts. I've followed people who actually been in the space for the past 12, 14, 15 years. Bitcoin's inception is only 17. So I'm talking about the OGs in the space, right? And that's when you really know, okay, because people with half information, they'll be like, oh, nah, it's just magic internet money. No, it's a scam. Oh, no, I've heard about it, but yeah, I don't have the money to buy it. You don't need, like today it's what, 93, just under 93 US, $93,000. You don't need $93,000. You don't need to buy one whole Bitcoin. You can buy $10, 100,000, 10,000, whatever your appetite is. But that's not the point. The point is getting off zero is the point. And here's the thing, right? And this is where I was coming to when you said, the coach will design the program, educate you on technique, nutrition, and recovery, holds you accountable, cannot lift your weight, cannot eat your meals, and cannot show up consistently for you. You have to do the hard work, right? And that's my parallel to self-custody in Bitcoin. When I say self-custody, for those listeners who would not understand this, let's say, for example, now you own Bitcoin. You have gone to, let's say, Coinbase or CoinSpot or SwiftX, any exchange for that matter, and you've bought XYZ amount of Bitcoin on there, and it's there. You log in time and again to your app and you say, yep, oh, yeah, it's there. Okay, today it's increased, or 2 months later, oh, it's down, but it's still there, right? At that point of time, you may think that you have Bitcoin, but actually you don't. You do not own that Bitcoin. The exchange controls that Bitcoin. So tomorrow, for any reason, if that exchange shuts down, right? And history has shown that exchanges have shut down before in the past. 2014, Mt. Gox. Mt. Gox was one of the first exchanges. 2014, that hack, I think it was 800,000 Bitcoins. Just under 1 million that was lost in there. 2022, Celsius got bankrupt. 2022, FTX was one of the largest exchanges after Binance. I personally had money in there, so I was in FTX and Celsius, right? But that was my learning. I had in self-custody as well, but I had some for like constant trading as well. So, and that just got, all of a sudden it's shut down. You can't put your username and password and log in. It's as simple as that. There is no backdoor. There's nothing. So what self-custody means is you having control of your Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin always stays on the blockchain. It's not like a physical coin that I can put in my wallet, but there is a private key. A private key, when it's on the exchange owns the private key. You take the private key and download it or send it to your own cold wallet, right? And that's your personal wallet. It could be any wallet for that matter, like Trezor, Cold Card. There are many wallets. It depends on how much Bitcoin you have, what kind of level of security you need. I do not talk about any of the cryptos. The reason is every other crypto is a scam. And I'd say that openly, only because I used to be there. I used to be in the crypto. I think many years I got distracted. To crypto. My first purchase was Bitcoin. And then, like a kid in a candy store, I went on to the new shiny objects. And I did make a lot of money there, Triv. No, I won't deny that. And I lost a lot of money in scams too. But eventually what I realized was the next big thing is not really the next big thing. There is no second best. There is only one. So, it's like saying tomorrow a group of people come in and they say, We don't like this internet. I'm going to develop Internet 2.0 and everybody needs to
Yes.
move there. No, that's just not possible. The infrastructure that's holding Internet 1 or the internet that we're on, they're not going to just move it to the next one. That is just not going to happen. So an asset that's over the past 17 years has reached a market cap of $2.2 trillion at that span of time. There's never before an asset in history has reached that amount that fast.
Understand.
So the compounded annual growth rate of Bitcoin from inception till now is ginormous. As compared to gold, gold is like a tiny baby. Although nothing against gold, gold is a very strong. It's a strong metal. It's a good asset. Gold failed as money. That's what I'm saying. So gold was intended to work as money, but gold failed as money because just think about it. Gold can perform a lot of actions what money has to do, but it's not divisible. You can't take it to, I can't take it to a coffee shop and say with a gold bar and say, yep, I'm going to scrape some gold off here. Can you give me a couple of coffees? Like it's just not possible. They'll be like, dude, something's wrong with this guy. I need to call the cops. You can't take a bar of gold, let's say 10-kilo bar of gold, and travel on a plane. The immigration would be like, hold on, whose gold is that? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So gold failed there as money. Otherwise, gold, yes, it is a hard asset. But the problem with gold is it is infinite. It is not finite. So another day, a few years down the line, they might find an asteroid or another place where it's full of gold, or another country which just got buried with trillion tons of gold. So what's going to happen? We got more supply in the market. When the supply increases, we know what happens, right? The price goes down.
Yeah, true.
But Bitcoin has a finite supply.
Okay.
So one of the most prime reasons of money, right? A finite supply of 21 million. So 21 million Bitcoins are fixed. Till date, 20 million have been mined. There's only 1 million left to be mined forever. It's an open source protocol. So what that means is anybody, you and I, can go and look at the code and try to understand the code, try to change the code if you want, try to change the network. People have tried it in the past. They've tried it in the past and they have failed. Failed because no one person controls the Bitcoin. There's no country that controls it. There's no CEO, there's no company, there's no corporation, there is no sovereign nation. These are people who run the Bitcoin software across the globe. So for Bitcoin to shut down, internet has to shut down. And at the same time, all these people running the Bitcoin node, the Bitcoin software, have to be shut down.
Right.
The problem is they are anonymous. Like, I run a node, so I'm not anonymous. I run a Bitcoin node. So I also need to be shut down. If every Bitcoin, very hypothetical, but if every Bitcoin node on this planet gets shut down, but I have internet, mine's running, Bitcoin will still function. It's like that, bro. So everyone has to be shut down together. It's secured by proof of work. And this is where the channel comes in, right? Because I believe bodybuilding, or not bodybuilding, let's say fitness, right? Let's just not make it a niche, but fitness in general is proof of work. You come and spend your energy, right? It consumes your energy to achieve whatever level of physique or fitness level you want to achieve. But you have to give it every day. Day in, day out. You have to follow after the gym. That is the proof of work. Why people fail to do that is because it's not easy. It's not easy. It's very easy to get distracted to the shiny new object, the get rich quick scheme.
Yes.
This is boring. Bitcoin is boring because, oh my God, I'm going to have to wait for 5 years, 10 years. Oh, no. I need to do it today or tomorrow. Same with like exercise, fitness. I have to follow this whole diet. That's whole 60 days. Oh no, how can I put it for like 2 weeks? It's not instant. And this is where the difference comes. And the difference comes like for yourself, someone like you, right? To have that mindset, you are an engineer who has a full-time job, who's a dad of two, you have a family, and you train and you a coach and you have a competition, like you're taking part in a competition that requires level of discipline and consistency, and you are an example of proof of work. So you actually, and this is how proof of work means, right? And you are secured by that, and that's what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is secured by the proof of work. It consumes energy and it creates digital security because of this, right? And the functions or primary functions of Bitcoin, to cut it short without going through technical, is it's meant to be a medium of exchange, which it is, global, 24/7. It doesn't care about borders. It doesn't care about which nation you're from, what's your bank account, what's your race, what's your color, nothing. Banks don't work on weekends, on public holidays. There's no holiday for Bitcoin. You try to send money overseas, like if you've ever used those kind of things, it takes sometimes Swift network takes like days, if not weeks, to send that money, right? And I don't know if you personally experienced it, but I have, and many other Aussies have. I went to withdraw my own money to another account, and I was questioned, why do you want to withdraw that kind of amount? And I was like, do I have to answer that? Okay, I'll give you the answer. This is for such and such reason, and it is my money in my account. I am the one who's authorizing it. Nobody's scamming me. I am in full control. Yes, please authorize it. Nope, we have to put this on hold for 24 hours for your security. My own money that I've spent my energy and my time to earn has been held hostage for me to spend according to my will. This is, unfortunately, that's the truth. And many people, people have to go through that. Unfortunately, people like us, even our generation, right? Especially, and you would relate to this, since the time we were little kids till now, we were always brought in a society where it was made to think that inflation is normal. It's just how it is, Things get expensive over time. Yeah. And kind of gets conditioned in children or in adults that, yeah, oh yeah, it used to be, it used to be this many cents for a liter. Now it's $1 something. Yep. Okay. People have normalized it. Actually,
Yes.
it should be the other way around. Inflation shouldn't be there. Think about it. Over time, our technology has increased hundredfolds.
Absolutely agree with you. We're just going
Technology has
backward.
increased. Yes, our things are supposed to be easier for us, and everybody has the same, like corporations have the same account. They have more things at their disposal, right? We have more things at our disposal. Everything is so convenient. Why are things expensive then? Because the value of your Australian dollar, your US dollar, your Canadian dollar, your currency is going down. You're losing the
Yes.
purchasing power because that's going down. The prices of things are the same.
Yeah. Yep.
Prices of the
Yes.
things are not moving at all.
The value of the dollar is what's
That's right.
reduced.
It's very hard for just to make someone understand. I was trying to explain this to someone, and they're like, oh no, but it is like that. The price of eggs, and the things, groceries increase. I'm like, yes, but if you think about it, those things are not increasing. Your value is going down. That's why you're paying more. And this is where Bitcoin takes it over. Bro, a few years ago, so let's say it's 2026 now. Around 2015 or so, you would need around 500 or 600 Bitcoins to buy a house. A median house, let's say a median house costs around $600,000, $700,000. Today, we need like 5, 6. Everything will go down in comparison to Bitcoin. It's just math. It's governed by code.
It's far more powerful, isn't it?
It's the smallest market right now. It only has a market cap of 2 trillion. And the global equities market, we're sitting at like 300 to 500 trillion. There's so much to eat. Like there's bonds market, there's gold. So Bitcoin will slowly eat up. It's already in silver. It will take over gold in the next few years. And then eventually it will go to bonds and equities and then real estate and so on and so forth. Because there is a fixed cap of supply, there is no upper ceiling. Because dollars can be infinitely printed at the press of a button. Anybody sitting at the table like, all right, man, let's issue some stimulus, put some money into the economy, boom, 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 print it out. They can do unlimited printing, but there's only certain supply, right? So if there is a certain supply and the supply gets capped, now if Triv, being the multi-billionaire, has 0 Bitcoin and all his multi-billionaire friends have Bitcoin, and Triv is like, damn it, I need to get some. So Triv is going to go to the market, but has to buy at what price John is ready to sell it to Triv. Triv is not going to get at 100K. If the supply is maxed out, 100K would be a wish that people 5 years down the line would be saying that I wish I would have bought it at 100K. Every cycle, every 4 years, Bitcoin starts as an intelligent test and then it becomes an ego test. Intelligent test is,
Right.
oh no, it's just magic internet money. No, nobody, they fail
Yeah.
to study it, right? Nobody, no, it's just garbage. Nobody bothers to read. No. Ego test is, oh no, it's 100. I didn't buy it at $1. I didn't buy it at 10. Oh no, it's too late. Now it's 1,000. Oh man, I didn't buy it at 100. I think it's too late. 10,000,
Mm.
same story. 100,000, same story. 1 million, it will be the same story. 10 million, it will be the same
Cyclical.
story. Yeah, there is no ceiling to it, right? Store of value. It is already started as the store of value because it's inflation resistant and it's scarce. So it's rooted itself as a store of value. The only way to secure your and your family's wealth is through self-custody. That is one thing I keep telling, and I think we've had this conversation once before at the gym as well, right?
Yes.
A couple of times. So, and that is the only way to go. Otherwise, we have no.
I do have a
There's no
question
escape.
for you on that, actually.
Yeah, please
So
go ahead.
once it is in self-custody, and I'm sure your listeners will benefit from this, is it essentially still on the market, but just under your control? So it's still going up in value and coming down in value periodically as per usual, but you're the one who has ownership. That's the only difference.
Everything remains the same.
So you will
Your
log into
Bitcoin.
your platform to assess its value on
Yes. So
whenever you choose to.
what that means is, let me put it like this, Trip. You leaving the coin, your Bitcoin on the exchange is equivalent to you giving your bank account password to me.
Yeah. I don't own it. Yeah.
Now, if you give your bank account password to someone on the street, what's going to happen, right? And that's exactly the same analogy. So if it's on the exchange has control. The moment it comes to your account, you have the password. So now the value, nothing happens to the value. Value appreciates, it appreciates, it depreciates. Whatever it does, the value remains the
You
same.
can buy and sell the same way.
You need to transfer from this. So let's say I have it in my wallet. Now, the reason I'm putting it in my wallet is to secure it for the long term. Now, let's say for some reason I need to sell it or send it wherever. So I will have to send it to the platform where I can do the trade. Usually it will be an exchange.
Like the open exchange.
Usually it will be an exchange. In the future, though, Triv, I believe in the future, in the few years, it's already many people are doing this, but let's say a few years down the line, you don't even need to send it to the exchange. Let's say I have a house and Triv wants to buy my property, and John says, Triv, I'll take a couple of Bitcoin for it. You can pay in cash if you want. You can pay in fiat, but you also have the choice of paying in Bitcoin. And Triv will be like, that's easy. I can do that. Obviously, legally, you have all the legal paperwork, everything was there. You have your solicitor and all that aspect. But then we do the transfer and we're done. So you don't even have to send to the exchange. But if you want to do an exchange trade, yeah, you send it to the exchange and do the sell and buy accordingly. So nothing changes there. Basically, you are in control of your private key there. That's all. The private key is with you, and that's the difference, right? So, Trev, to simplify it, when you put it on your, let's say, cold wallet, we call it cold wallet, hardware wallet. Cold wallet because it disconnects you of the internet. So you're not on the internet, right? So there's no way that someone can access your coins if you're not on the internet. Your private key is secured off internet, right? Wallet develops a seed phrase. Let's call this the master key, right? From the seed phrase, the master key develops, it generates private keys. The private keys are your private keys for your Bitcoin. There are private keys and public keys. Public keys is what you will give me or anyone else. Like if somebody wants to send you money or you want to take the money off your exchange to your wallet, that's your public key. So you can give it to them. You never give your private key to anyone. You give your public key. So basically, these are addresses. It might sound very complicated when I say things like this, guys. It is actually not. These are just the terms. Unfortunately, that's the only way I can use it. Just keep it as simple as that a private key is your password and public key is what you can share for me to send. It's like your bank account number, which you can share and people can send money to you.
It's very simple, yeah.
I like to say that Bitcoin is a bearer asset, bro. So for those who understand what a bearer asset for those who do not understand what a bearer asset is, like think like cash, gold, bearer bonds, right? If you drop $100 bill on the ground, the person who picks the bill has full control. There's no way to reverse the transfer. That is a bearer bond, right? Every note that you have, it's written on it. Bitcoin functions very similarly, but on the digital realm. So it's a digital bearer asset. Anybody who has your keys has control of that.
Yes.
You may think that you have it, but you don't. The person who has the keys has control of it. That's why it's the safest thing to take it off the exchange. And this is why our main goal is self-custody. So that's a parallel to self-custody in Bitcoin and fitness that I say. So in Bitcoin, they say if it's not your keys, then it's not your coins. It's as simple as that. Not your keys, not your coins. The responsibility and the accountability is yours. Same like fitness. You need to take the ownership. You need to take the accountability, right? Bitcoin lets you to be sovereign. There are tools like cold wallets, backups help you. There is education to help you, but no one can secure your keys for you. No one can reverse the mistakes if you send it to someone else or let it be on the exchange. That's on you. No one can spot you there if you abdicate the responsibility, right? Like in a gym, you can gym bro can spot you, but here, unfortunately, you will lose it. It's just saying, in a way of saying that you are essentially now responsible for your financial strength.
Yes. That makes perfect sense.
Now going back to some questions. From your perspective, Triv, have you seen clients who only grow once they stop relying on external motivation?
Absolutely. The clients who obtain the best progress understand the fact that it's not a short-term. There's no short-term gratification in a sense. There is from a well-being standpoint, I suppose, when they start to feel better, because what happens initially is there's a bit of a shift from just endorphins, for example. So I've noticed people start going to the gym and they'll just start to feel better. And that's from endorphin release, okay? And then obviously that gets them to potentially continue more consistently because they get hooked onto the endorphin component, right? And then once they understand the logic behind the long term and the investment required to make the changes internally, physiologically, to then see the change in body composition, whether it be muscle gain or fat loss or both, they're happy to continue because they feel good. Right. And that is when they understand that they don't mind adopting a healthier lifestyle, because it is a lifestyle choice. It's not a diet. It's not a phase. Do you know what I mean? It's either
Absolutely.
You change your mindset and change the way you live towards a healthier manner or not. You can't do this for a time period of your life to change and then go back to your old habits that got you where you didn't want to be, if that makes sense. And the people who are willing to let go of the old lifestyle and adopt a new healthier lifestyle because they appreciate it more, they'll continue to see the growth ongoing. But I've met people who aren't willing to do that. Their whole excuse or reasoning is, I just can't. And I've learned not to judge those people. I know a lot of them personally, and I know they're probably not happy, but they'll continue to be unhappy and make the same poor choices ongoing, whether it be eating poorly or not exercising or not moving. And unfortunately, the degradation continues from a health standpoint, because as you get older, the damage only gets worse. You know what I mean? So they'll only feel worse, think poorly, because, brain chemistry, everything gets disrupted from a gut digestion standpoint via poor nutrition, obviously. And the lack of activity physically, leads to, more systemic inflammation and tightness and pains and aches and whatnot. And all of this obviously leads to diseases. So every single disease known to man is due to a nutritional deficiency. Nothing more, nothing less. Your genetic predisposition to that is obviously a variable. Whether you and I are more predisposed to diabetes or not, or cardiovascular disease, what have you. But ultimately, your lifestyle will, and your environment is really the trigger to that.
Lifestyle is key. Lifestyle is key. And what a wonderful point there. Your genetic predisposition is a variable. That is true. And that's an area where obviously it's beyond your control. I can't control what my family history of conditions is, what my monetary conditions are. However, I can choose to control my lifestyle. I can choose to control what I can do or what I can do to prevent anything that's running in my family as much as I could. Obviously,
Exactly right. Yeah.
that's absolutely right. This is maturity. This level of maturity, right? Like in gym, or let's say in gym, it only comes with. I mean, we're keeping those exceptions apart, but in generally people with time, people who don't want to do, they'll not do. As you said, these people will remain, and I'm not being mean or something, it's just the honest truth. People will remain unhappy just because of the fact that you're unable to do it. Similarly, people will remain poor if they choose do the research and do the study about it, because what's coming right now for all of us, right, it's insane. I mean, the next few years, once they introduce central bank digital currencies, once they have digital IDs, they will have so much control on our everything that we spend, wherever we're moving the money, we would have no control. So you need to get, and this is obviously, I can't advise anyone to do that. I'm not an advisor, but this is what I have done for my family, for myself, for my next generation, because I don't believe in the currency system. And it's not about Australian dollar. I don't believe in any currency. They're all going to zero. They're all going to zero. It may take, Western countries may take a bit longer than the countries who are not that privileged. But we've seen this before in Zimbabwe. We've seen this in Lebanon. We've seen this in Cyprus. In India, overnight, they took denominations out. People were queuing outside the ATMs. They couldn't get their money, queuing outside banks for days and weeks. They couldn't get their money. So the government can do anything. So you want to have an asset which you can control, which no government can take away from it, and it should be in your self custody. I have done that. I have in my for my personal. Yes, I also have taken control of my super, because I don't want them to. First of all, I don't want them to give me the 7 to 8% every year, and I don't even know where they're investing it properly. They tell me, but I don't believe if that's what actually they're getting or not. So we've taken control of that super. I invest through my self-managed super, but that's a choice. I'm not saying you should do it, but if you should look into it and research about it. Everybody should try to take control of their financial decisions. Don't leave things for that, right? Take ownership. This is the maturity, right? Self-custody, and Jim, it comes with time. Convenience is great. Convenience is really great, right? It's very comfortable. We are all in a comfort zone. It's awesome until the system you rely on fails.
Yes.
Just on that, where in your life have you ever traded control for convenience and felt it later?
Man, many times. I'm sure in my youth. I have to think of a hard, fast example now. Financial is definitely one. But I mean, super is a good example of that. You know what I mean? You get too caught up in day-to-day life, so you think it's more convenient to have someone else do it for you. You know, periods of times when I've invested in other people preparing my food for me, this is more related to health. Whereas it wasn't the same sort of accuracy or quality that whereas I compared to me controlling that. And that obviously had a knock-on effect to my result and my health because I wasn't getting what I thought I was getting. So it's probably a good comparative example that you understand, maybe you could relate to. You pay for convenience and time saving, but the reality is you're maybe not getting what you're paying for.
I relate that.
And a good example, and further to that point, there's a lot of meal prep companies these days that people rely on, yeah, again for the convenience factor. But 9 out of 10 of those will not be providing you the same amount of calories you think you're purchasing, or the accuracy, I should say. So again, paying for convenience, but you're not getting what you think you are.
That was where I was trying to touch base on as well. Pre-made meals. Pre-made meals are convenient. Yes, those shortcuts do feel efficient for that matter. It's similar to somebody who will only train, let's say, machines forever and no, only because machines are convenient. But I believe these shortcuts, they'll cap your long-term progress. They'll hide your weaknesses and they'll create a dependency.
And you'll never be able to do it yourself.
Yes.
When I coach people, I've always done this. I made a point of educating my clients on the why behind everything we do and how, so that they could understand nutrition, how to build their own meals, especially from a lifestyle standpoint, because you're not always going to be in your kitchen, right? For example, and a lot of uh, clients that I've had over the years would travel for work, for example, and say, "Oh, I can't follow the diet because I'm traveling for work." And I'm like, "What do you mean? You're traveling within Australia. You still have access to everything." And I'm living proof of that now because I travel for work often. Nothing's stopping me from buying food from Woolworths or arranging my accommodation that has a kitchen and preparing my food as per usual. You know what I mean? But if I don't educate people on how to build their meals and understand macronutrients and micronutrients to then substitute meals, compared to, say, a meal plan that I've devised for them, they won't understand that they can swap out chicken for turkey or lean beef for kangaroo, for example. Do you know what I mean? Because they're too dependent on that initial plan I've drawn up for them. But once I educate them on nutrition in this instance, they were able to use their own their newfound knowledge now. And, they'll come back and say, I had the greatest holiday. I've substituted bagels and sourdough bread at the buffet for my usual rice in the morning or what have you. And I enjoyed myself. And, I still stuck to my nutrition as per the plan, like macronutrient wise, but I had enjoyed a whole bunch of different sources of food based on their newfound knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's it's important to not keep people in the dark. Education's important.
And just to relate that to Bitcoin, that kind of dependency or shortcuts, let's say, right? Like in Bitcoin, the exchanges are convenient. The custodians remove the friction. So in that, they are the custodians. We are not the custodians of our Bitcoin. They hold the keys. And the password resets that they will do will feel safe. Let's say safe in air quotes. But you introduce a counterparty risk of losing your asset. You don't control your assets in crisis. It's happened to me. It's happened to many before, and you become an unsecured creditor. So convenience shifts the risk away from effort and onto trust. So that's where the issue comes in. And in Bitcoin, in that space, we say don't trust, verify. It's not even about anti-convenience or something, right? This isn't about anti-convenience. It's just awareness in both.
And it's another thing you'll agree with. I've always been fortunate to be built this way, but I'm driven purely by logic. I'm not driven by emotion a great deal at all. So when I adopted a healthier lifestyle, for example, when I started the gym in my youth, I think I experienced a very acute increase in discipline that carried over through my entire life. I was at university failing majority of my courses because all I did was drink and not look after myself. And when I adopted a healthier lifestyle and started to feel better every single day, the discipline carried over to me then performing substantially better at university. So I was making my way through uni, just passing, and I think I graduated on a distinction average because the final years of university was when I was most consistent with my health and fitness journey. Even though it had just begun, I was consistent with it, and the discipline component is what I experienced was so beneficial. So logically, I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense for me to continue and do it even better. In the same token, people get too emotional when they're making decisions and they don't think logically enough. Whereas if you're driven by logic and you understand simple math, 1 + 1 = 2, you need to do this and that to get that end result, whether it be researching and understanding our current point, an investment in Bitcoin, or ignoring it because you're too emotional about it, the fact that you may have missed out. Do you know what I mean? Same, obviously, with health and nutrition and that lifestyle part as well. Like, a lot of people, like I said, too driven by emotion. They don't even want to get going. They, overthink everything. And that's when it comes to, you meet a lot of talkers or thinkers and you meet very few doers.
So true. And that's a very good point that you touched there, Triv. This is exactly why I tell people price action. If you're not a trader and analyst, and if you're not a large corporation with billions of dollars under your belt, don't think about the price action, right? Price action controls the mind of the weak. So if you're someone who wants to accumulate on a longer term and you don't have the intention of doing trades, because I will never recommend anyone doing trading as such, because you will get wrecked. You will lose all your money if you're not a seasoned trader. I personally know people who have got wrecked So if you're not a trader, do not advise you to trade Bitcoin, but you can accumulate. I call it DCA, dollar cost averaging. So regardless what that price is today, it could be 90K, it could be 100K, it could be 80K, 120K, it doesn't matter. Whatever your appetite is, you do the purchase. It could be weekly, fortnightly, monthly, up to you. I have set up recurring purchases like on a daily account on an app. I've set up fortnightly and monthly. So that's depending on how you want to set it up. There are many apps for it. I personally like the Amber app. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm not selling the product or something, but I'm only giving the credit where it's due. It's a very good app. It's built by Australian Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. So it's an Australian app, and the team is really helpful and always available for support. And the interface of the app is so beautiful that you don't even have to do anything. All you have to do is open up, register, link your bank account, and whatever amount you put. Let's say you put like $50 a week or $50 a fortnight, right? And set the rule, and it's going to buy it for you regardless at that date at whatever price, and it accumulates for you. The best way I tell people is if you could spare a coffee or two or the price of that in a day, if it's possible by you, do that. Right. Or whatever the amount. I cannot suggest an amount. So the easier way to say is a coffee. I don't know how much is a coffee. I don't drink coffee, but it could be five, it could be 10. I don't know. So put that in there. So over a month, it may not feel much. So it might feel 150 or $300, but it will compound in a year to 1,500 to 1,800, 3,000 to 3,600. But over 10 years, that's much more because it's already appreciated. It's not losing its purchasing power. It's going up in value. And you will be surprised to find it there at a time when you need it most. And you'll be like,
Mm.
oh, let's say it's an emergency. Hopefully you don't have to take it out in an emergency, but let's say, and you'll be like, oh, that's appreciated. It's an asset which is going to go up in value. That's the best way to do it. Taking the emotion out of the equation. There's no, analysis paralysis. People go into this analysis of, oh my God, no. What I'm going to do is I'm going to buy it when it goes down to 85. But how do you know that? It can go
Yeah.
to 125. And then you will say, oh, I should have bought it 100.
Well, it's a simplistic like for like comparison to health and fitness again is you should just be consistently attending the gym and training and eating your meals, whether you feel like it or not. It doesn't matter if you are 80% on your diet today, as long as you are 80% 100% of the time forever. That consistency is what's going to compound. Because a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm not going to go to the gym this week because I missed Monday, or I'm not going to eat follow my nutrition today because I missed my first meal. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to throw it all out the window for the rest of the day. They get emotional about it, right? Whereas if they at least consistent with it, it will compound regardless. Much to the point you're making, I believe. It doesn't matter how
No,
much, no matter how much or how often you invest, it's gonna still add up. It's still gonna make that difference long term.
as I think it was Albert Einstein who said that compounding is the eighth wonder of the world, and those who will understand compounding, they will reap the benefits of it. Those who would not will continue working for it. So, and this is where, and this applies just in life, right? There is
Yeah.
no shortcuts to it, right? There is no shortcuts. There is no single day failure thing here. Man,
Yeah.
we all have bad days. Yesterday, when I was at the gym, right? I was supposed to train back. I felt so weak yesterday, but I still pushed through it. I did
It's still
post a
training.
funny, yeah, I still trained. I just still posted a funny pic on Insta saying that, yeah, I'm probably the first one to say how weak I felt on the 6th of Jan. Just to say, but it's human, it's normal, and probably because the main reason was I was running on very low sleep.
And just as you said, you're running on low sleep, right? So that's where logic should prevail and be like, the reason why I feel this way is because I didn't have as much sleep. So my performance is naturally going to be down. Whereas most people would get emotional about it and get annoyed at the fact that they're lifting less weight and go home. Okay, stuff this, I feel like shit today. I'm going to go home. I'm not even going to bother working out. Whereas you persevered and you trained to the best of your ability for that day.
Yeah, still smashed
You know
it.
what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And today I was much more fresher. I had slightly more sleep, and I had a very nice session. So it's always going to be there, right? There are days that you will feel your 2 kilos is like 5 or like 10. Things are going to feel heavy. Things are not going to feel motivated. Could be your work, could be your personal life. It actually triggers onto in your head. But that's okay. We're all humans. We were meant to have those emotions, right? But you
Correct.
get through it, but you don't let that take control over you.
No, correct.
So,
Yeah, you can't let it control you.
yeah. And that's one thing that because I have a lot of friends and family who do the DCA strategy now, right? But before that, now they've kind of starting to understand that what I was trying to say years ago. But initially or at the start, every other day I'll get a call. Shall I buy now? Shall I just wait for it to like go low? And I'm like, but who's going to give you a phone call and let you know that it's going to go low? I'm not the one. I'm not going to do that because I don't know. It's like how Warren Buffett says, right? It's not about timing the market. It's about the time in the market. So you will never be able to time the market because nobody can time the market. But the amount of time you'll spend in the market, you will be in profit provided you have invested in the right place.
Yeah.
This is, yeah, let's say, right, someone goes to a gym for membership and they say, I don't worry, we'll train for you. We will hold the weights. We will do the work for you. And you would know instantly, right? That's nonsense.
Yeah.
But on a financial level, people accept that trade every day.
Yes.
Every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For the
Every day.
convenience factor.
For the convenience factor, right? Majority of the people don't even bother, right? And this is why I sometimes feel that, okay, even if 1 or 10 people as time progresses, even if some people are able to take something out of this, that would be a win because somebody's family's lives would definitely improve and they would be happy. But the whole point is everybody should take their own control and do that, whether it's gym or your finances, right? Nobody else is
Yes.
going to do it for you, man. It's about confidence. It's about confidence. I feel, Triv. It's
Yeah.
when you learn to lift properly, you're safer, right, under heavy weight. Like if you're lifting incorrectly, you're not even safe under little weight.
Correct.
But
Correct.
and if you learn to manage your money properly, you're safer under stress, right? You won't be stressed about it, right? And that's how you can plan your things. You don't have to go all in on anything, right? But you can actually allocate accordingly.
Yeah. I agree.
Bitcoin just happens to be one of the few systems that forces that question. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
care who you are, it doesn't hold your hand, it doesn't bail you out. You still
Yeah.
have to you don't have to own Bitcoin to understand this, right? The lesson applies everywhere. Strength comes from ownership, comfort
Yes.
comes from delegation.
Yes.
And these two rarely coexist together.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do agree.
We've just gone a bit overboard at time as well. I know you were a busy man. I'll just a couple of things. Triv, as an experienced, seasoned elite fitness professional, what is one thing that if you have learned out of your vast experience, and if you want to tell that to the younger generation, what would you have changed for yourself early on and which you realized much later in life?
Well, there's a few points I could make. Being consistent, which I've already touched upon, is paramount. Keeping everything basic, trying not to get too confused with the overload of information out there. So there's information overload on the internet now these days because everyone's a marketing guru and they just try and sell you something with some, bullshit promise about fast tracking a result. Whereas the reality is the basics done really well, really accurately, consistently is what will give you a long-term result. And if it is a viable or feasible, I should say, option for someone younger, hiring or at least paying for someone's services to set you on the right path will be far more beneficial, especially for someone very experienced, obviously, for you to be wondering and trialing and testing every different method under the sun that you read. Because I found a lot of people I speak to will say, "Oh, I read about this, or I read about that," and they would have only tried their first training system out for 4 weeks before they jump into another one. Much like with anything in life, you need to put it under stress for long enough to cause adaptation, for your body to adapt and improve and grow. It is boring because it might be the same program for a year, but I guarantee that your body will adapt, grow, and improve. So that's a handful of points kind of summed up in one, I guess. Consistency, the basics done consistently.
That is the most important point of this show. by the way. That is amazing. Consistency, and especially I want to call it boring consistency. It is the key. Progressive overload, delayed gratification, boring consistency. Same for your fitness and for your investing. Self custody may sound very boring and slow and quiet. Just like what Triv mentioned, this is what I want to tell in the other aspect of things in terms of anybody comes to the crypto side of things and what they should be doing, what I learned from my own mistakes. Do not get distracted. Stick with the original intent why you came in the first place, and you should have listened to your own instincts and beliefs, and do not get distracted by this new shiny objects and new shiny scams or the next project promising to be the next big thing.
The noise.
Similarly, all this information feed out there on your social media, which is giving you so much overload of fitness information. Don't do that. Sometimes sticking to the basics, the boring thing is actually what's really going to work for you. And it has worked. Remember, guys, the people who win long term in fitness are rarely the flashy ones. I have seen this personally. I've met professionals like Triv and others. They're rarely the flashy ones. Their work actually shows on them, right? And it is exactly the same with investing in Bitcoin, right? You don't have to be it won't be as fancy as the new kid on the block in terms of the crypto space, but yes, it is the oldie which has proven itself for the past 17 years. Oh wow, Triv, that's around the same time as you've been coaching.
Indeed.
I just realized when you said 17.
Yeah, I didn't even realize. I thought you did that on purpose.
No. That's actually, I just realized, it just clicked me now because when you said 17 years, right? So that was around 2009 is when January 3rd, 2009, when Bitcoin's inception, the Bitcoin's first block was created. It was Bitcoin was actually, the white paper was written in 2008, but the first block was mined in 2009, January 3rd,
Right.
2009. So it's been 17 years now. Yeah, that is just slightly off road there.
Yeah.
It was really good. Such a good chat. It was such a good chat, such a good insight. Just wanted to touch base back to that point when you said about, this marketing angle. Yesterday or a couple of days ago, I had a pod with Jarvis Moran from Lifted Nutrition.
No, Jarvis very well.
Yeah, Jarvis has been a long old friend as well. We also touched base on the exact same thing that you said, right? Because when I asked him that, he said, like, firstly, you want to look up to a coach or a mentor, someone who's actually walking the talk, who's actually doing the things what he wants you to do, or at least has done that, or knows about it, not just someone who's just like, reading it off the book and expects you to do it. And so that's where I said, yep, reputation. For me, reputation precedes the marketing. And yes,
Absolutely.
there would be people who would sell through their marketing, and that's just marketing. But reputation for me would always precede it, right? And reputation with marketing, whoa, that's a banger then. But that's totally
right. Correct.
That's
But
perfect.
there's few people that lead from the front these days.
Very, very few, right? Yeah.
That's what matters. Like Jarvis's point, and to your point as well, absolutely. Results dictate knowledge, hands down. And a coach's results with their clients is what matters more than them posting selfies of themselves all day long. So if you want to see my coach, for example, you'll only see reposts or shares of his clients, never of himself.
I think
For a bit.
I think I lost you for a bit there.
I was just saying, like, what matters more from a coaching standpoint is a coach's results with their clients far more than with themselves. So if you see reposts of, a lot of influencers these days just reposting themselves and their own workouts and trying to sell you their programs, you don't want to be purchasing programs.
That is, yeah. It's a dark space now, man, and it's
very much so.
Gone very, very money oriented.
It's very fraudulent. In fact, there's a lot of self-professed educators these days and coaches that promote themselves accordingly, but they have no real knowledge and no real results with any clients, but they regurgitate other people's information in a very intelligent manner, again, marketing, to then get people to buy into their bullshit and pay them.
Unfortunately,
and they sell on emotion. They've seen people's investment on emotion, an emotional sell.
Yeah. Unfortunately, people succumb to it because, they are seeking to get this certain physique or dream physique that they're looking for. And when they see the marketing and which comes on their feed, and they're like, oh, wow, flashy, again, the same concept, flashy new toy, the new thing in the market. Do not get distracted, guys. You do not get distracted. Do your due diligence always.
If you treated your finances in the same manner as your health and fitness, so you
Yeah.
looked after it, you invested more mental energy in how you utilize it. So say in sense of how you use your body, how you feed your body, how you exercise your body. Yes, definitely. But not how you abuse your body, you know what I mean? So you could abuse your body by drinking alcohol and taking drugs and eating lots of shitty food. In the same manner, you could abuse your finances in buying things, you know, unnecessarily, and you're constantly spending money on things you do not need. Short-term, flashy toys, like things that depreciate in value, versus investing your finances intelligently in long-term, like property, and as you said, Bitcoin's obviously the new next frontier. Same token, invest in your health, in the right things like exercise and healthier eating. May not be as instantly gratifying as eating a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Buying something or gambling your money, for example, because you might win big. You know what I mean? So if I was to create an analogy as to your question, I think I would have answered that.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good take. It added value to what I was thinking. I would also like to say that if money worked like fitness, slow, honest, and earned through time, I believe the society would also be better. Why I say that is, and when I'm talking about money, I'm not talking about currency here. Like, I'm not talking about the dollars. When I say about money, I'm talking about money which it's actually sound money, hard money, something that cannot be created out of thin air. Right now, on this show, it is Bitcoin. So if something that appreciates over time, so if the value of the asset that you're holding is appreciating over time, I do not have to work that much for that at that point of time to get that same equivalent of money. What that does for me is I am able to buy back time.
Yes.
If I'm able to buy back time, I could spend that time wherever I want, and obviously with my loved ones, with my family, with my wife and my kid, and that brings more value to my life, right? And the society gets better. So if it's for everyone, then the society will get better. Everyone would not be struggling.
You're not wrong. Absolutely accurate. Yeah.
So, guys, before we wrap up, just for anyone who's a beginner who would listen to show in fitness, the takeaways here are: respect the process, trust the process, right? Don't chase shortcuts, and be consistent. Don't go towards the next shiny object. Seasoned people, Triv knows it's best, but protect your energy and time. Build assets that compound like your muscle. And for Bitcoin beginners, guys, you have to put in the work and do your due diligence. Do not listen to anyone just like that. Read books. If you're a reader, read The Big Print by Lawrence Lepore. It's an eye-opener. Read The Price of Tomorrow by Jeff Booth. That is an amazing book. And obviously the Holy Grail, The Bitcoin Standard by Saifuddin Ammous. These, if you are readers, if you're not readers, if you're listeners, you can listen to these on Audible, but put in the effort. And then, and things will work for you. Triv, any last words of wisdom, although you've given a lot today? Anything before we wrap it up?
Not further to beyond the points you've made, and we've already covered, I think, pretty clearly over the course of this podcast, which was really good.
Amazing.
But
amazing.
Everyone needs to make an effort, and you're not going to. No change will come from someone else making a change for you. It's up to yourself. That's probably my biggest effort, whether it be finances or your own health. It's you making the change or the decision to change now, not wait.
That is absolutely spot on. Guys, in short, what Triv said is stack sats, build strength, and own your life. If you guys liked this content, this type of content, please feel free to like and subscribe, so that motivates me to get more experienced and elite people in the space and have this wonderful conversation and bring it out to you guys. I would really appreciate that. And till then, I will see you guys next time on the next Proof of Work episode with another great guest. So thanks a lot, Trev. Have a great one.
Thanks again. Thanks for having me.